Listen to me carefully. There is a big difference between being nice and being respected. Too many of you out here think that being overly nice is the key to keeping a man's attention. You smile when you don't feel like smiling. You agree when you don't even believe what you're saying.
You go along with things you don't want because you're afraid of losing him. Stop. Stop giving away your power like it's free.
Stop believing that your value comes from how much you can please somebody else. Being nice doesn't make you loved. It makes you convenient. It makes you replaceable.
If you want a man to respect you, if you want a man to truly see you, then stop being the person who says yes to everything and start being the person who knows her worth.
Set boundaries, stand on them, let your words mean something. When you say no, let it echo. When you speak, let it carry weight. A man will test you, and if you fold every time, he'll never take you seriously. Here's the truth, men respect what they earn. So stop giving discounts on your respect. Stop handing out your time like a clearance sale. If you keep giving without receiving, that's not love. That's desperation disguised as kindness. And desperation never commands respect. From this day forward, don't focus on being nice. Focus on being real. Be kind, yes. Be compassionate, yes. But never at the expense of yourself. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. You don't need to overdeliver just to feel worthy. The right man will see your strength and rise to meet it. So stop being nice just to be liked. Stop being soft just to be accepted. Show up with dignity. Show up with standards. Show up like someone who knows they are the prize. And watch how everything changes. Being nice and being respected are two completely different things. And confusing them is where many people lose themselves. Being nice often means going out of your way to make someone else comfortable, even when it costs you your own comfort. It means saying yes when your heart says no, smiling when you're frustrated, agreeing when you completely disagree, all because you don't want to upset anyone or lose their approval. And while it might make you appear sweet and easygoing on the surface, the truth is, it does nothing to increase your value in the eyes of someone who's already taking advantage of that kindness.
Niceness is easy to ignore because it requires nothing from the other person. It demands no effort, no accountability, and no respect.
It is simply given away, without boundaries or expectations, and anything that comes without cost is rarely appreciated. Respect, on the other hand, is earned through strength, through clarity, through unwavering standards. It is built on the understanding that you are not here to make everyone comfortable at the expense of yourself. Respect means people take you seriously because they know where you stand and what you stand for. They understand that your kindness has depth, not weakness, and that you are not afraid to say no when something goes against your values. That's the problem with being nice. It often comes from a place of fear, fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being alone. But fear never commands respect. It only invites others to take more, to test more, to push boundaries until there are none left. If you want respect, you have to show that you respect yourself first. That means choosing honesty over convenience, truth over comfort, and authenticity over approval. It means you stop trying to win people over with endless giving and start valuing your own energy as something precious. Because the reality is, men don't fall in love with a woman who sacrifices her identity to please them. They respect the woman who stands firm in who she is, who knows her worth, and who never allows anyone to diminish it. Being nice might make people like you, but being respected makes people listen to you, trust you, and value you. And when someone respects you, they will treat you differently. They will think twice before crossing a line, because they know there are consequences. They will appreciate your time because they know it's not handed out freely. They will see you as someone to cherish, not someone to use. So understand this. Nice is temporary, nice is forgettable, but respect that stays, because it's built on strength, and strength never goes unnoticed. Stop giving away your power like it costs you nothing, because every time you do, you chip away at the very thing that makes you strong. Power is not about controlling others or being aggressive.
It's about owning yourself completely. It's about knowing where you stand and refusing to move just because someone else wants you to. Too often, people give away their power without even realizing it. They do it every time they agree to something they don't want, every time they stay silent when they should speak, every time they tolerate disrespect because they're afraid of losing someone. That's not kindness, that's self-betrayal. And the more you betray yourself, the less you believe in yourself. Until one day you look in the mirror and can't even recognize the person staring back. When you give away your power, you send a message that your feelings don't matter, that your needs aren't important, that your boundaries can be crossed without consequence. And once someone knows they can take without resistance, they will keep taking. It's human nature to test limits, and if your limits vanish every time someone pushes, you're training them to treat you like an option, not a priority. Think about it. Why would someone value what you don't value yourself? Why would they fight for something you're willing to give away for free? You teach people how to treat you, and if you keep teaching them that your worth depends on their approval, you'll spend your life bending, shrinking, and breaking just to keep them happy while you're miserable inside. Taking back your power starts with one simple decision: to stop living for someone else's comfort and start living for your own truth. That means setting boundaries without apology. That means saying no without guilt. That means walking away from situations where you are not respected, no matter how much you care. And yes, it's hard, because for so long you've been taught that being selfless is a virtue, that giving and giving without expecting anything back makes you a good person. But there is nothing virtuous about losing yourself. There is nothing noble about being a doormat. Love does not require the death of your self-respect. Real love, healthy love, exists alongside boundaries, not in the absence of them. The truth is, when you stop giving away your power, something incredible happens. People start to rise to the level of your strength. They treat you differently because they know you won't tolerate less than you deserve. They listen to your words because they know you mean them. And most importantly, you start to trust yourself again. You start to feel whole again. You start to realize that power was never about anyone else. It was always about you choosing you. Every single time respect does not happen by accident. It is built when you draw clear lines and refuse to erase them for anyone. People will always test you, not because they are cruel, but because that's human nature. They want to know where the limits are, and if you never set any, they will assume there aren't any. Boundaries are the language of self-respect, and without them, you invite chaos into your life. When you set a boundary and stick to it, you are not being rude or difficult. You are teaching others how to treat you. You are sending a clear message. My time matters, my energy matters, my values matter, and I will not compromise them to make anyone comfortable. The problem is many people think setting boundaries means pushing people away, so they avoid it out of fear of losing someone. But the truth is, if someone leaves because you enforced your boundaries, they were never meant to stay. Boundaries don't chase good people away. They chase away those who want to take advantage of you. And that's a blessing, not a loss. When you allow someone to constantly cross your lines, you give them permission to disrespect you. And over time, they stop seeing you as strong and start seeing you as easy to manipulate. That is not love, that is not loyalty, that is control disguised as affection. Setting boundaries is not about creating walls, it's about building gates that open and close on your terms. It's about saying yes when it feels right and saying no when it doesn't. It's about protecting your peace like it's priceless, because it is. Think about the times you've said yes when you wanted to say no. How did you feel afterward? Resentful, exhausted, maybe even angry at yourself? That feeling is a signal that a boundary was violated, and most of the time, it wasn't by the other person. It was by you because you allowed it. You can't blame people for crossing lines that you never drew. You can't expect someone to respect rules you never explained. So it starts with you being clear about what you will and will not accept, and then standing firm when those lines are tested.
When you set boundaries, you are showing the world that you value yourself. And when you value yourself, others are forced to value you too.
Respect is earned through consistency. If you say no and then cave when someone pushes back, your words lose meaning. If you set a standard and then break it out of fear of being alone, you teach people that your boundaries are negotiable.
But when you hold your ground with grace and confidence, something powerful happens. People start treating you with the seriousness you deserve.
They approach you differently because they know you are not easily moved. That is how respect is built, not by pleasing everyone, but by honoring yourself first. When your words carry no weight, people stop listening, and when people stop listening, you lose influence in your own life. Too often, individuals speak, but their words have no impact because they don't follow through. They say no, and then change it to yes when pressured. They make promises to themselves and break them the moment it becomes uncomfortable. Every time you go back on your word, you weaken its power, and once your words lose power, people stop taking you seriously. They know that if they push hard enough, you'll bend. They know that your no doesn't really mean no, and your yes might not mean yes either. This is why so many people struggle to gain respect. They talk about boundaries, but they don't enforce them. When you say no, you have to mean it. Not out of anger, not out of spite, but out of conviction. Your no should not shake just because someone questions it. Your decisions should not crumble the moment someone expresses disappointment. If your entire sense of self is tied to keeping everyone happy, then you will sacrifice your own integrity every time someone frowns at you. And the truth is, if you keep doing that, you'll become invisible in your own life. You will speak, but no one will hear you because they've learned that your words are just noise with no consequence. Respect isn't given to those who talk. It's given to those who stand behind what they say. To make your words carry weight, you have to connect them to action. If you say you won't tolerate disrespect, then when it happens, you can't ignore it just because you don't want an argument. If you say you need space, then take it and don't let guilt pull you back. People learn how to treat you based on how consistent you are. And consistency is everything. A person who enforces their standards without hesitation sends a strong message. I know who I am and I know what I will and won't allow. That is what makes people listen. That is what makes people take you seriously. Your words also carry weight when you speak with clarity. Stop using soft language to cushion the truth. Stop apologizing for having standards. Say what you mean and mean what you say. If you want something, state it without fear. If you don't want something, decline it without over-explaining. When you do this, you shift the balance of power in your relationships, because people know you are not afraid of honesty. And honesty commands attention. It draws a line between those who respect your strength and those who only want your silence. When you speak with conviction, people hear you. When you back your words with action, they believe you. And when they believe you, they treat you with the respect that comes from knowing you are not someone to be taken lightly. Trading self-respect for attention is one of the quickest ways to lose both. When you sacrifice your dignity just to keep someone interested, you are telling them that their validation matters more than your own worth. You start bending over backwards, doing things that make you uncomfortable, agreeing to situations that go against your values, all because you want them to stay. And maybe they do stay, but not because they love or respect you. They stay because it's easy, because you've made it clear that you'll do anything to keep them. That's not power, that's desperation, and desperation never earns respect. It creates an imbalance where one person takes and the other gives until there's nothing left to give. When you put attention above self-respect, you begin to lose yourself piece by piece. At first, it feels harmless. You say yes when you want to say no. You let a comment slide that should have been addressed. You ignore the red flags because you're afraid of being alone. And little by little, you start building a version of yourself that isn't real. A version designed to please someone else. But the more you do that, the more disconnected you become from who you truly are. You wake up one day and realize you've given everything: your time, your energy, your pride. and in return, you've gained nothing but emptiness. Because attention is temporary, approval is temporary, and when it disappears, all you're left with is regret. Attention feels good in the moment, but respect lasts. The person who respects you will treat you with consistency, with care, with effort. They will not need you to compromise your values to earn their love. That is why choosing self-respect over attention is not just important, it is necessary. When you hold on to your dignity, you send a message that you cannot be bought with compliments or temporary affection. You show that your standards are not negotiable, and that makes people value you more. The ones who only wanted you because you were easy to control will leave, and that's not a loss, that's a victory. The ones who truly care will rise to meet the level of your strength, because they understand that real love cannot exist without respect. It takes courage to walk away from attention that feels good but costs too much. It takes strength to choose silence over begging, to choose distance over constant compromise. But every time you choose your self-respect, you are building a foundation that no one can shake. You are proving to yourself that your worth is not dependent on how much someone else notices you. And when you fully understand that, you stop chasing, you stop pleading, and you stop settling. You start attracting people who see your value because you finally see it yourself. And that kind of attention, the one that comes naturally to someone who knows their worth, is the only kind that matters. Men value what they work for, and that's a truth that never changes. When something comes too easily, it's often taken for granted. It's not because men are unkind or careless. It's because human nature works that way. When you invest time, effort, and energy into something, you naturally see it as valuable. But if everything is handed over without effort, the sense of appreciation fades quickly. This is why giving too much too soon, without expecting the same level of investment in return, creates an imbalance that leaves you feeling empty and unappreciated. You can give endlessly, hoping it will make someone love you more. But in reality, all it does is make them expect more without doing anything to earn it. When you allow someone to benefit from your love, time, and energy without requiring respect or effort, you are setting the tone for the entire relationship. You are teaching them that they do not need to try, because you will always show up regardless of how they treat you. And once that pattern is established, it becomes nearly impossible to break. You will find yourself giving and giving, hoping for reciprocity, and instead, you will receive less and less because the other person has learned they can do the bare minimum and still keep you. That is not love, that is dependency built on uneven effort. Value is tied to effort. Think about the things in your own life that mean the most to you. Chances are, they required some level of sacrifice or work on your part. They hold weight because you had to earn them. The same principle applies to relationships. When a man has to work for your time, your trust, your love, he sees those things as precious. He protects them, he cherishes them because he knows what it took to have them. But when everything is given up front without any standard, it feels replaceable. And what feels replaceable rarely gets treated like a priority. This doesn't mean playing games or manipulating someone into chasing you. It means setting clear expectations and holding yourself to them. It means understanding that you are the prize and acting accordingly. It means not lowering your standards just because you're afraid of losing someone. The right person will never be scared off by effort. In fact, the right person will value the process because it shows you value yourself. When you create space for someone to prove themselves, you are not being difficult. You are being wise. You are ensuring that the people in your life are there because they truly want to be, not because it was convenient for them. When you make someone earn your respect, your trust, and your love, you set the foundation for a relationship built on effort and appreciation instead of entitlement. And that is the kind of relationship that lasts, because anything that comes without work can disappear without warning. But what is earned is always guarded with care.